Well, give me a little bit of a background information here. When we launched Numbrs in 2014, that was a conscious and strategic decision. Germany is one of the big markets in Europe. I think the biggest in Europe with 82 million people living there. It's the fourth biggest economy still in the world. And for us, it was very important to become the #1 mobile banking app in such a big market. And we did that now, and the next step for us is UK in 2020. And although being founded in Switzerland, and we are a true Swiss company, there are no concrete plans yet to launch the app in Switzerland.
Okay, so eventually Switzerland is not going to be in sight, I guess.
Not in the upcoming years, but of course we want to, yeah.
Explain to us a little bit more about how Numbrs actually works. Okay. So users actually come on, and depending on their profile and their financial needs, they get products offered to them. Are you essentially a robo-advisor?
No, we are not. We are not a robo-advisor, clearly not. So first of all, what is important to understand is that we are not a bank. Numbrs is completely neutral and independent. That means that we don't offer our own products, and no bank is invested in Numbrs. That means that we avoid this conflict of interest. Why it's so important, it is because we live in times where people unbundling their financial services. This means you have an account with your bank, there goes your salary. You have a credit card account, you have a loan, you have a crypto wallet maybe, you have a PayPal account, so your finances are all over the place. What you need is a smart platform to manage your finances, to have a holistic overview on what are my assets, how much money do I really have. And for that, we believe that the world does not need another bank. It needs the smart technology platform. And this is exactly what we're offering at Numbrs. With Numbrs, you can manage all your finances from all your bank accounts.
Numbrs has actually linked up with banks and insurance companies, just to name a few, Zurich Insurance, Allianz, AXA. How do you ensure that there's no potential bias in the services and products involved and that you can guarantee independence?
Because of the data. So let me see. The first point which is important is the aggregation. With Numbrs, as I said, you can manage all your bank accounts. Second of all, because you managed all your bank accounts with Numbrs, we have a holistic view of your financial data. That means, for example, I give you an example, you are in overdraft with minus 20 Swiss francs. Overdraft fees are usually more expensive than just fees of a normal loan rate. We see that, we detect that, and we tell the user, hey, you have the chance to save some money here with this product, but this is really based on data and the user still decides. So we don't push the user to buy.
How do you actually see yourself positioned in the market? I mean, because there are already so many personal finance apps and solutions out there.
Yes, there are many solutions for it, but no neutral. And we are already the #1 in Germany. So there is a need. We have 2.2 million installs in Germany. We have 1.8 million bank accounts in Germany connected to Numbrs with $11 billion in assets managed through the app. So we see clearly that we have a great solution, technology-wise and simplicity-wise. So if you look at the app, it's really design-driven, and what we want to make sure that the user is really reducing this complexity of financial service management.
So just recently, we spoke to N26, a digital banking service.
Yeah.
Now, they are making inroads in Switzerland. Another big player is Revolut.
Yeah.
How do you actually stack up? I understand you're not a bank, but how do you stack up when this fintech space in Switzerland is getting more crowded, is more competitive, and you've got more people on the turf?
I think we're very well positioned. I mean, we are now valued with more than 1 billion euro as a valuation. That makes us one of the most valuable fintechs in Switzerland and in Europe, of course. With that, to stack up is here not really necessary. We are a Swiss company. We are completely different than N26. We are a different market, and we don't see ourselves competitors of 2026. You can even aggregate your N26 account if you want to with Numbrs.
Having a valuation, though, of $1 billion doesn't necessarily mean that you are profitable. So when do you actually expect to see the returns coming in for you?
Yes, let me give you also here a little bit of background. We are a long-term oriented goal company. So that means we invest in our technology, we invest in our product, and we invest, of course, to go international, hopefully. So we're really long-term oriented company. We want to build a product the people love. And we believe that if we do so, the profit will follow. We will become profitable in the next 2 years.
Okay. And your company actually, in fact, has been through several rough patches before. I mean, at one point, you had to let go of about 40 staff. Another time, your CEO left after just a year. How do you know that the company is at a stable position now? How do you convince others that?
First of all, let me talk quickly about this layoff because it's often a topic brought up here. It was actually a very hard decision we had to make, but it was necessary because it involves efficiency. That means we laid people off in Zurich, 40, and we hired at the same time 40 in remote. So that was the introduction of our remote program globally. It was not a cost-efficient decision. It was also a decision to go worldwide and to recruit the best talents. In Switzerland, you know, we have some restriction in bringing people here from all over the world. So that was our measure, unfortunately, which we could, had to do at this point. We are now worth more than 1 billion, and we have an established business model. We see revenue coming in, and we are in really good shape.
Okay, and right now you've got some strong numbers. You said that you've got about 2 million downloads in Germany. But in order for you to actually be successful and to make money, it's not just a matter of how many people use it. It's about the users coming on and actually having a conversion rate and buying the product. So what is that right now?
I think what's even more important is that you see what is the real value of these customers. So what do they have in assets? Because if we want to provide the best service, the user need to connect all their financial services to the app, not just opening an account and then there are no assets on it. It's, makes no sense for us. So with this 11 billion, you can see that people really connecting their salary accounts to Numbrs. Our users have an average more than 20,000 euros on their account, which makes our users very valuable if you compare this, for example, with Challenger Bank Numbrs. Yes.
How do you actually guarantee that? I mean, just taking a look at our phones nowadays, we've got so many apps stacked on there. How do you actually convince users to get past the download part and actually, link up their assets and link up their accounts when it's across so many different places?
Well, first of all, I think you need to tell the user, first of all, what is the benefit of using Numbrs, the holistic view of your finances, simple and straightforward, based on data. And now, again, we are neutral. You should not aggregate at your bank, really not, because you really want to have your bank seeing all your finances. I think the conflict of interest here comes into the play, and the user is smart enough to understand it.
Now, Mr. Kreuz, I want to finish up with a look at the broader fintech market. Sure. What do you actually see as the obstacles and challenges that could be impacting a business model like yours in the way? Do you see less investment going into the fintech space now that it is more crowded? Or in fact, do you see banks stepping up their innovation capabilities and, I guess, stepping on your toes?
Well, stepping on our toes, really not from the banks, I see. We're a technology company, and I really don't want to compare ourselves here with the traditional banks. I think what is a challenge for sure is the regulations. So if you take, for example, the new payment directive from the European Union to open up APIs for third parties, I think it's a brilliant idea behind it, but the implementation is just a mess at the moment. So if you really want to implement such a regulation, it's very, very expensive. And not a lot of fintechs or startups can afford to implement such a regulation. What does it mean is it kills innovation and it kills competition.
And what could be a solution to circling around these regulatory hurdles for growing fintechs?
I'm not a politician and I can't go there, but I think one solution it would be, as Numbrs, trying to stay, try to be as far away from regulations as possible. Okay.